to Purpose podcast, where we explore the incredible journeys of individuals who have turned their passions into successful businesses, nonprofits, movements, and side hustles. I'm Misha, your host, with over 20 years experience in the nonprofit sector, experience as a licensed real estate agent and mortgage loan originator. I've had the privilege of working with so many amazing people who have followed their hearts and changed the world. And now I'm bringing their stories to you. Chauntae Hollins knows firsthand the effects of trying to live up to the impossible standards of being strong. She understands the hurt, frustration, and disappointment of being everything to everyone else while being nothing to herself, and have experienced the impact of needing help but not feeling safe enough to ask for it. That's why she developed the Chauntology Speaks experience, a transformative journey crafted to empower strong Black women to redefine their strength, rewrite their narratives, and reclaim control over their lives. With more than 20 years of life, educational, and professional experience, she is exceptionally skilled at connecting with women in ways that make them feel safe, ensures they've been heard, and encourages them into action. She guides them through self-evaluation and self-discovery, and gives them the knowledge, skills, and strategies they need to achieve greater happiness, build stronger relationships, and have a more fulfilling life. She has earned a Master of Arts in Professional Counseling, a Bachelor of Science in Psychology, and certification as a Master Life Coach with specializations in Professional Life Coaching, Goal Success Coaching, Happiness Coaching, and Life Purpose Coaching.
Hey ladies, thanks Misha for having me here. I love the opportunity to get to just talk to people. Right. That's where you build connection. But I am a life coach. I'm the Strong Black Woman's Coach. And I help Black women stop being everything to everybody else and start prioritizing themselves. And I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit more, but we can all relate. It was just like the overwhelm and the frustration and the go, and being self-sufficient and being all the things all the time. And we never really give ourselves enough time and attention. And so we carry hurt and disappointment and baggage and pain. And we have dreams that we don't know how to reach. And we sit and we wonder, who's going to be here for me? When is it going to be my time? And that's when I come in to help Black women really find that balance so they can take care of themselves.
Awesome. And I could definitely relate. I think we talked about that prior. How do you work with women? Is it an individual coaching that you provide?
So I have a coaching program that I call the Cocoon. So my brand is the Chauntology Speaks experience. So as a coach in business, I go by Chauntology Speaks, and that's a play on my name. Once you see it in print, you see it's kind of spelled the same. But I have a coaching program. I started out doing some individual coaching and workshops. I enjoy workshops where people get to come together and be interactive because you don't feel so alone. Right. And over time, I discovered that was really what took off, was the group coaching, where women could connect and be on the same page and really talk about some of these challenges. And you see that there are other people in the room that's going through what you're going through. And so I now have the program. It's a 12-month program where we just go through every month. We have an in-person workshop. You get private coaching. So there is a bit of one-on-one in there. You get private coaching. I am adding a monthly masterclass. And right now it's a Facebook community, but I want something that's a little more open to even women who are not on Facebook. So I'm searching for another platform. But anyway, I offer that 12-month program. Every now and then there's someone that still comes and just wants some private coaching, and I will create a plan with them and do some private coaching. But I focus heavily on my program and my workshops. And you get food and it's entertaining and I use props. It's not this boring lecture, but I focus primarily on my program.
Awesome that you mentioned how the part of your program that really resonates is when women get to come together and have that shared experience. I don't know if you had a similar or have had a similar experience, but me as a Black woman, I feel like our friend groups, our circles is all about getting through the struggle or being that superwoman, and we lift each other up from that side of it. And it doesn't always feel like a safe place to say I'm struggling.
Right.
I'm
Right.
not
And
a
that's what
superwoman and I'm struggling.
absolutely. That's what I discovered. We have these friend groups that we're not really comfortable in. They don't always feel safe. I talk to a lot of women, especially my age, who are in their 40s and they're struggling with trying to make friends, trying to find that genuine connection. And that's one of the things that we long for is someone that is like us, but that we
Right.
can open up to and trust. And so that was a big part of why I wanted to do group coaching. I wanted to create a safe space, a true, genuine space where we could come and not have to wear masks, not have to pretend to what somebody else said or what somebody else did, not feel like we had to censor because we didn't want to hurt somebody's feelings or I'm embarrassed. So let me not say what I'm really thinking or what I've been through because I'm embarrassed. And I just remember growing up with low I've always had a big personality. I come from a family of women with big personalities, but I never felt safe enough to say, hey, I'm not as put together as you think I am. I'm not as okay as you think I am. I pretended a lot. There was one post I put on social media probably last year sometime, and it said if there was an Academy Award for the best pretender, I would win hands down. And I find that that's what we do as Black, we pretend. So that was my primary goal, is to create a space where we truly, truly feel safe.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you mentioned that one of the things that you help women with is that balance, right? So putting down that cape and really feeling comfortable to find that balance. How do you find that balance as a woman? How do you find that balance?
Oh my gosh. In true transparency, it is a struggle. And I have one lady that's in my group that will constantly say, I see you and you are one of us. And who do you go to? And so when people ask me that question, I have to be really honest that I don't know, and so I am learning to go to them. So it's not just about them. I'm learning that this program is about me as well. I need to be able to open up, and I'm wanting to be a certain thing to these women, but not allowing them to be that for me. And so that's been the test for me, is not just talking about it, but actually showing and being about it. So I have a couple of really close friends that I have learned to let my guard down with, that they have, I hate to say it like this, but it's real. They have proven themselves to really be for me just simply because they love me, not because it's some kind of competition, and not because they want something from me. And so I have learned to open up and let them be for me what I am to other women.
And I think the beauty in that too is that you're okay saying, I don't have it all figured out. And I am one of you. And we're going to figure out this thing together. And this is how we do it. Because I've gone to events, either events or this is how you have these kind of conversations, whatever it is to better yourself. But it's almost like I can't really get what I came for because it's not a safe place to really be a mess. You feel like you have to show up and your best foot needs to be forward already. And it's like, I'm really coming here to get some help because my life is a mess. But I need to pretend like I have it together because the person or the group or whatever it is that is presenting it feels like this veil of perfection. So it's like, I can't really be my authentic self in this case.
That's why transparency is one of my core values, is because in some areas, I am a few steps ahead. I've been through it. And so I akin that to being similar to Harriet Tubman. She found a way out, and then she went back and got those that she loved to come with her. And when she went back, she still ran into challenges. The struggle was still real, but she had done it before. So she had that confidence. She had the plan. She had the knowledge. And so it didn't make it that much easier, but she knew the way. She still didn't do it, but she knew the way. But that's why transparency is one of my core values, because of that very reason. Women talk a good game. Oh, girl, you can tell me anything, or it's okay, I won't judge it. But the whole vibe is just off. You walk in the room and you're like, I don't know that I trust this. And so I am transparent intentionally. And I will say, this is an area that God is still working on me, or this is what I've been through, and these are the things that I've overcome, or I really feel bad about thinking like this, but hey, I'm in this same boat with you. And that helps women just really breathe and relax and let their guards down, because I'm not coming to them as the almighty. And hey, you little peons, come on up with me. I don't approach anything like that. I am one of the sisters.
Right. And so you did mention your own personal struggles is what brought you to the work, but what was that moment or that time when you felt like this is something that I can do as a venture or as a career to bring this knowledge and understanding that I'm getting for myself to other women? What was that time?
I don't know if there was ever just one moment. So coaching is a part of me. It's just one of those things when you realize this is my purpose, then you don't really find a start time. It's just something that feels natural. However, I had a moment when I was just internally just dying. And I was a single parent. I'm driving to work, and I'd have thoughts about, man, I could drive off this bridge and nobody would miss me. And just things that were just hard and difficult. And when I hit what was my personal rock bottom, to me, that was rock bottom. I'm this Christian girl, come from a strong family. You're having these thoughts. You have a psychology degree. You're having these thoughts. And so I finally just surrendered it all to God. This is not where I want to be. I need to surrender it all to you. I need you to do these things for me. And so then after I went through my process, I was hit by a drunk driver.
Oh, wow.
And it was a pretty bad accident. I was ejected from the car. And before I go on, let me say that I had always had these doubts and had these thoughts that, God, you do all these big things for everybody else. People are talking about getting checks in the mail and these huge things that they know was just God. And so I'm having even these thoughts going into my time of work and self-discovery. But anyway, I was hit by a drunk driver. Really bad accident, ejected from the car. It's 2:30 in the morning. And there's an off-duty EMT, a nurse, a registered nurse, and a minister named Angel. They're all in this spot, 2:30 in the morning. There at the time of this accident. I walk away with just some minor scratches, just completely miraculous. And it was like God said, you needed a big thing. There's your big thing. Now, you go what I called you. Go do what I called you to do. And that's what you've been preparing for all this time with all of this work. So if I had to say that there was a moment, that was that moment. But that was 2013. And I didn't officially become an LLC, an official business, until 2020. And I tell that story because it's like, just because you have the vision, you still have to do the work. You still have to walk in it. It's not going to just come and sit in your lap.
Right. And you talk to people about discovering their purpose. And as you said, you're waiting on this miraculous moment where you, God, send me a sign, send me a message. What am I on this earth to do?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's not that. It's this slow walk all the way through your life. Like you said, I've always been the one to do these things. I've always felt like this was my calling. I've always felt, or you just always felt joy when you were doing certain activities. So I was on we talked about that. I was on a mission to find my purpose. There's clearly got to be this big thing that I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm just waiting on the word. I'm waiting on the sign. I'm waiting on something to come smack me upside the head and say, this is it. This is your purpose.
Right.
But really, I shifted that thought and I'm like, what am I passionate about? Because you find the purpose and the passion and the joy. So it's like when I'm doing these certain things, there's a feeling that I can't describe, but it feels like it's natural to me. It's just something that I naturally do, an element I always find myself naturally in. And that is my purpose, right? And then it's going through the exercise of how can that show up? What things can I do that brings that purpose into that work? And then how do I monetize it? And so that's kind of the path that I've been on for the last few years. Is I know what my purpose is, right? We're all walking in our purpose all the time. But the question we're really asking is, how can we monetize?
Right.
How can we monetize? How can we do something that involves this but makes me some money? So, and sometimes it's not a whole lot of money. Sometimes your purpose is meant to be given. Sometimes your purpose is meant to be monetized. Sometimes it's meant to be volunteered. And so it's doing. And it sounds like your joy comes by way of being that listening ear that people can come to you and have conversations where it's like you don't need anything from them and it's not a judgment face where they can really, because you can't heal stuff that you can't speak and you can't be honest about.
That's right.
Because we all sitting in the room lying to each other and lying to ourselves. There's no point of us being here.
And that hurts us.
We'll give a, but it's still like, I'm all together. I got it. I always got it. I'll get it done. I'll figure it out. And it's like, and we cheer each other on. You'll figure it out, girl. You're strong. And it's like, I am, but I'm also.
And there's a totally different definition of strength. And it's not our fault. We were born into this. We were conditioned the moment we were born to live this life that we were living. We've got to stop this cycle because you're born a girl. And so you're automatically told you're a girl. You have to speak like this. You have to sit like this. You have to want to do this. Well, as a profession, you should. What do you mean you don't want to be married? What do you mean you don't want to have children? Already being instilled in us. And we're just minutes old, really, before we're even born, because everybody's buying all the pinks and all the yellows, and the nursery's got to look like this, and you got to have that. So it starts before we're even born, and that's why we never get an opportunity to truly get to know ourselves. That's why we struggle in knowing what our purpose is, and then don't let it be something that we think is small compared to somebody else. That's another issue. We compare ourselves a lot. Don't let us think it's small and then we're like, nah, God, that's not it. It's got to be bigger than that. And so we're looking for these big bangs. And it starts from birth, conception, really.
And I know being a young girl, you play with dolls and you play house. And one day when I have my son and my daughter's going to be X, Y, and Z, and my son is going to be X, Y, and Z and do X, Y, and Z. And so it's even before you even conceived. Somebody has thought what you might do, what you might be like, and who you might be before you
just put into that.
What advice would you give your 20-year-old self about following your purpose or pursuing your passions and purpose?
Definitely trust in me and love me. I was bad at comparing myself to other people. And it was because I didn't think I was good enough. And so I would tell my 20-year-old self, you are good enough for this. Trust yourself. Be yourself, because I wasted so much time trying to have a certain body type, trying to have, my hair a certain way. Well, I need to go to this college because of this. And I spent so much time. I wasted so much time trying to fit into other people's molds. I would definitely tell myself, you are enough right now. You are powerful enough. You have all the skills. You have everything you need to go after what you want. Definitely. That, no hesitation. That's what I would tell myself.
Same. That imposter syndrome was real.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And I worked in education for a time, and it can be a little elitist when it comes to where did you go to school? And I was an adult that went back to school, and I started at a junior college and then went to Cal State University, right? So it's not prestigious. And so it's always in the back of my mind, like, I'm getting this bachelor's or I'm getting this master's degree, but it's not going to be good enough because it's not from Harvard. It's not from Howard. It's not from, I kept telling myself everything that the things that I was accomplishing were not. And it's like that negative self-talk, that self-talk. And I didn't discover affirmations until maybe 5 years. People saying it, but that was always like that new age yoga, stuff for me. And I don't have time for that. So, how important are words of affirmation, or even just saying positive things to yourself? How important is that in keeping you motivated to do what it is that you do?
That is everything. Now, I don't recite affirmations per se, and not that I don't believe in them and I don't like them. Not that at all. But I do try to rephrase the things that I'm saying to myself and what I'm thinking about myself. To me, it's everything, because you become all of these things that you hear. So if you're telling yourself all of these negative things about you and your future and your plans and everything around you, that's what you're feeding it. And so if you feed yourself junk, and you're going to develop, it will develop in unhealthy ways, like just with food. It's the same thing with our mental health. If you feed yourself negative talk and limiting beliefs, then you are going to grow, but you're going to grow into this negative, downtrodden, low self-esteem, low self-worth, angry being. But if you speak kindly to yourself, even with things you don't quite believe yet, over time, that gets into your soul and you start believing those things. You start looking at yourself differently. So I think the way you speak to yourself is a part of the foundation for where you're trying to go. Because if you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, you'll never be good enough. Bottom line, you won't. But tell yourself, I can do this. I am worthy of this. I owe myself this. It's just something about that positivity that just gets down in your spirit, and it makes you feel good from the inside out.
Right. And then you start looking for more evidence of that the positive things that you said to yourself. I was actually talking to someone, it'll be a couple episodes prior to yours, about affirmations and just negative self-talk. And I realized that it was bad for me when I asked myself, would I fight somebody for saying this to me? If somebody said to me the stuff I'm saying to myself, we probably have a real big problem. And I definitely wouldn't allow them to say it about my children. And that's the real, that right there is the real mama test. Like, if you wouldn't let nobody say this to your child or about your child, you should not say that. You should not be saying this to yourself.
That's right. Yeah. That's good. That's a good way to think about it. That's really good.
But
we do that.
And I was saying some pretty terrible things. Like I was saying, you wake up in the morning, you run late, everything is, you get on this negative train and it's like hours of it. And you never said one good positive affirmation harming thing yourself all, and then you start getting, you start the day like that, and you're nasty and negative to yourself, and then you go out in the world and wonder why you get all kind of, that's the energy.
That's
all
right.
day long. Then you started.
They can feel that. They can see that. They can feel that. It seeps out of your skin, and then you wonder why nobody wants to be around you and why they treat you a certain way. They can feel that.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. And you're right. The moment you wake up, I knew I should have done this. And why didn't I this?
Went to bed. I should have.
Yep. You wake up that way. Yep. Absolutely.
And you spoke about when you were younger, had negative or low self-esteem, low self-worth. And I had that struggle. So oddly enough, I tell people all the time, I didn't get acne or low self-worth until I was an adult. So I'm 30 something. I won't give the particular age, right? But I'm 30 something at the time. And I had like this negative thoughts that I had started to have about myself I never had before. And so it got to, I would write things on my mirror. You were beautiful. You were worthy. You were worthy to be loved. And I really didn't believe it. And I'm like, I'm going to say it to myself until I believe it. It took a while. But I got there. And so I think that's important. Even if it sounds ridiculous saying it out loud, think it, write it, read it, put it on the mirror. Whatever it is that you need to do. If it's putting a sticky note on your computer monitor at work. Right. Whatever it is, just say something nice to you. So start with once a day and just go from there. You have some people, you look at them and you're like, well, they don't have, you don't know if they suffer from the lack of self-reflection or what, but very high, so appear to have very high self-esteem, always affirming, saying they're great at all of these things. We need to all be a little more like that, maybe not that extreme. But have that quiet confidence about yourself. What has been some of the biggest struggles on your entrepreneurial journey or taking your platform and really trying to make a movement out of it? What has been some of the biggest challenges you faced?
One of the things you've already mentioned is the imposter syndrome. You start out and you're gung-ho. I was secure in what it was I was doing. But then when you start facing challenges, it was like, maybe I wasn't meant to do this. And you don't have it all together either. So why should they listen to you? And that imposter syndrome was definitely a struggle. And I had to remember to not just be the teacher, but to also be the student. And it helped me in teaching other women. This place we're going is not really a place that you arrive at and you're just there. It's something that you're doing all the time. So imposter syndrome was definitely a challenge. Another challenge was just having the business sense. I can coach in my sleep. I can talk all day and we can sit and we can laugh, we can cry, we can reflect, we can have a good time. You can walk away feeling good. You're motivated. Yes, I know exactly what to do, but the business aspect was not my forte. There's a lot that goes into business, and you hear people say being an entrepreneur is hard. And so you go into it not expecting it to be easy, but when you have to think about marketing and you start out with your business plan and you know what you're doing, you're answering questions to fill out your business plan, but you don't really know. And then you get to the financial piece and you're doing it all by yourself, solopreneur. And that was challenging. So I went into it. I'm excited. I'm gung-ho. I can do this. And it's like, oh, there's much more to this than just coaching. You a business. And because it's a new business, you are a solopreneur. You have to do it all by yourself. And that was a challenge. And then lastly, just balancing everything. Because I'm a woman, and I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend. And so when you are walking in your passion, you're doing something that you want to do, you want to do it all the time. I'll wake up with Chauntology Speaks on my mind, and I'm going throughout the day and, oh, I need to do this and I need to do that. And I'm going to bed with Chauntology Speaks on my mind. And my husband knows now, if I just sit up in the bed, it doesn't matter what time it is. If I'm writing, it's because something has come to my mind, even in my sleep. And just realizing, yes, you're passionate about this. You're walking in your purpose, but you have to balance. I have to give my family time. I have to give friends time. And so that takes a lot of discipline. And it's not that I don't want to be a mom. I don't want to be a wife. I don't want to be a friend. I'm just passionate about what I'm doing. And I have another full-time job. And so I'm at work. God, is this time almost over? Because I want to go do something for my business. But it's all about balance. So just when you find your passion, it's hard to do something else. And that's been a challenge for me, is just to balance everything, all of the parts of me, not just this coach, but there's so much more to me than just being a coach.
Right. And then, speaking about being a wife, a mom, a friend, a daughter, I'm all of those things, and an entrepreneur. And my problem was boundaries. So I'm self-employed. And so I have in my mind these things I need to get done today. I may time block in my mind and or on my calendar, but I would allow a call from my mom anytime. My good friend's got something going on. She calls me. I'm there. My son needs to be picked. Like things would just take me completely off of what I'm doing. And for a while, I allowed it every day. Every day was being determined by all of these other external influences. So when you said that, I'm like, that struck a chord, because I'm like, how do you balance the business part of your, outside of the passion? You got to for stuff, you got to market, you got to do your social media marketing and all of these other things that have to happen for you to get to that moment where you're truly walking in your purpose and doing the fun and joyful part of what it is that you're doing. But you have to make all of the other stuff work, and just getting taken off of that to be a wife, to be a friend, to be a mother. And then especially in your work, where your work is really around helping women heal that Superwoman syndrome and doing that work. I could imagine that all your calls with your girlfriends, you're working.
Yeah.
So how do you balance that part of not giving the Chauntology Speaks portion of yourself to every interaction?
It's tough. I'm still trying to master that, because it's who I am. And so when I try to separate Chauntae from Chauntology Speaks, they're like one and the same. I have to work really, really hard. So sometimes I'll ask my friends, you want Chauntae or you want Chauntology Speaks? And other times I'm talking and I'm giving responses and I'm engaging, and I'll say out loud, wait. I'm in coaching mode. Let me get out of coaching mode. Let me get into friend mode. I have to be very, very intentional. And so it's there's really no solid divide.
Right.
Chauntae and Chauntology Speaks coexist, but there still has to be some sort of a slight division. I'm not giving you answers. We're just talking. You're just venting. It is still a struggle. It is still a struggle. Yeah. That is not something that I have mastered. I don't know that I can master, because it's the Chauntae part of me is not asking all of the questions to help you to your solution, because that's what you do as a coach. And so I'm like, don't ask those questions. Just sit and listen and nod. But that is, I don't know that I'll ever master that completely.
Right. If you could, and I know it's hard to think of one moment or one time, but have you ever had a aha moment where you're doing your work and you realize that this is exactly what it is that you're supposed to be doing? If you could describe that moment.
I think it's every time I get feedback from somebody. Somebody will say, you have helped me so much, or I didn't do this until I started working with you.
Mm-hmm.
Or even my non-Black friends, my non-female friends will say, I love what you post. And I'm thinking, I'm not even writing to you, but it still resonates with them. So I think every time someone says, thank you, you helped me, or I can relate to that, or I feel that, or you're talking to me, or will you come? Every one of those moments is just you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And then just so that I'm not completely tied to the feedback, when I get to the end of the day and I'm proud of what I've done that day, and it doesn't have to be a podcast, it doesn't have to be major, but things start to line up.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel good at the end of the day. I'm not stressed. I am not worried. I'm not wondering. And I'm just feeling good. That also helps me just know you're in the right place. I know when I have questions, I'm seeking God for some answers. I know when I have just a peace about a decision, I'm not questioning. I just know, yep, this is what I'm going to do. I have a peace about it. That's how I know that you're on track. You are on the path that God would have you on. So that's the same thing with my business.
Yeah.
End of the day, I don't care if I've changed something a million times. If I had peace about it, you're right. This is where you should be.
Right. That's amazing. And I have those moments periodically, not every day. But what advice would you give just anyone who is struggling to make way for their passion so that they can pursue or truly walk in their purpose? What advice would you give?
I'd say take a moment to really be comfortable with you, with yourself. Own who you are. Learn to like your company. Learn to trust yourself. Just really, really be able to stand on your own without external validation, without someone telling you what to do, without someone just really guiding you. Because when you are able to stand 10 toes down on who you are, then it's easier to step into your passion, so that when people are questioning or they're giving you their ideas, unsolicited advice, when it gets hard, because it will get hard, even though you're passionate about it, it will get hard. When you can stand 10 toes down for yourself and love yourself and believe in yourself, it makes chasing your passion, or not chasing, but walking in your passion that much easier. It's like you're all of the negatives that come at you, it's like they're hitting a glass wall. They can't even get to you. That foundation is so solid. So my advice is to before you go out doing anything for anybody else, get to a place where you are solid with you. Doesn't matter what your hair looks like. Doesn't matter what size clothes you wear. Doesn't matter how much money you make, what kind of car you drive. When those things don't matter, that you are solid in here, you can go after your purpose.
Absolutely. So let us know where we can find you. How can we support you? How can we pay you for your work? How can we support the work that you're doing?
Sure. So my website is chauntologyspeaks.com, CHAUNTOLOGY speaks.com. And that's a good place to start in terms of just being able to see what my mission is, see what services I offer, and stay connected with me. I have a newsletter that I'm going to start sending every Monday. And here, and this is off subject a bit, but I think it's important for somebody to know. I have been going in circles. So when I mentioned the newsletter, it reminded me. I did a newsletter well over a year And I walked away from the newsletter because I couldn't see where it was going and where it was taking me. And I walked away from it to do some other things. And now I'm right back at this newsletter. And I started working with women, opened up my practice, and now I'm back with women. And it's like God says, you can play this game all you want to, but you are going to end up where I told you to be. And so that reminded me to, when you're going after your passion, do what God tells you to do the first time, because it saves you a lot of going back and forth. But anyway, so you can sign up to receive my newsletter every Sunday. That's just a free way of getting content from me. And we talk about real things. Let's talk about the nitty gritty. And it's not a really long read, but it'll give you some insights. And so if you want to just get a taste of Chauntology Speaks, you can sign up for free on my website. Then the master classes will start next week on the second Tuesday of every month. And so we'll hit topics like this month is mental health. And so we're going to talk about mental health and the generational blockages that have come down, and unlearning all of the things that we have learned about what mental health is, and really getting to a place where we can take care of our mental health. And those are low cost. My master classes are low cost. And so even if you're still trying to figure out, I don't know about this chick, let me try her out, you can get so much value from the newsletter and then from the master classes.
Right.
And then when you're really ready to dive in, you can enroll in my program, the Cocoon, and it's year round. It goes year round. You can join at any time. And you just, we start with a pre-assessment, because I want some individual time with each woman to know what are your specific goals, what are your needs. So even though we're doing a group program, we're doing group coaching, you still get what you need as an individual woman. And so those are the ways to stay connected with me: my newsletter, my master classes, my monthly master classes, and then my 12-month program.
Awesome. So I am looking forward to participating, and I'm definitely going to sign up for that weekly newsletter, because I could use that for Monday mornings. Mondays are rough. So I will be doing that and following you as well. Hopefully the guests will do the same. And we just appreciate you coming and dropping gems, sharing information, sharing your story, most of all, sharing your vulnerability, because that is really what we all need to keep pushing forward, to keep pursuing our passion when that money doesn't come or our passion doesn't seem big enough. Is someone else who has walked that same walk and is vulnerable enough to say, I'm walking it. And I'm not perfection yet, but I'm getting there. Here's how we can get you where you are. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been a lot of fun. We've only had a couple of conversations, but they've been great.